My phone lit up with 23 messages, but none of them were for me. I woke up to the sound of my neighbor's dog barking at absolutely nothing, same as every morning. The sun was barely peeking through the blinds, streaks of pale gold across the ceiling. For a second I didn't remember the date. Then I did. It's my birthday. I reached for my phone, still plugged in on the nightstand. Notifications lit up the screen. 27 unread messages in the family group chat, a few from work, and a spammy coupon from Bed Bath & Beyond. I scrolled. The group chat was buzzing, all right. Samantha had bought a new car. Jason was arguing with Aunt Marie about politics again. Someone posted a meme of a dancing turkey in sunglasses. No one had said a word to me. Not even a quick happy birthday. In passing, I stared at the screen for a moment longer, watching as another GIF popped up. A dog in a party hat, sent by cousin Lena. Not for me, of course. It was about Samantha's car. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I could have said something, dropped a casual morning everyone. Like I usually did, as if to nudge them toward remembering. But I didn't feel like nudging anyone today. I placed the phone face down and got out of bed. The floor was cold beneath my feet. I wrapped my robe around me, padded to the kitchen, and started the coffee pot. I didn't bother turning on music. The silence felt honest, at least. I poured the coffee into my favorite mug, the chipped one with the faded stars, and opened the drawer where I kept things I didn't want anyone else touching. Tucked at the bottom was a small birthday card. Still sealed. I had bought it for myself last year, when no one else remembered. I told myself I'd save it for a day when I needed it. But I never opened it. I already knew what it said. Something sweet and silly in glittery font like, "You're amazing," or "Celebrate you." It felt both pathetic and comforting knowing it was there. I left the card in the drawer. It's funny. Every year I promise myself I won't care. I say, it's just a day. I remind myself I'm not 5 anymore. But every year, the silence still hits like a cold slap. It's not about gifts. It's not even about cake. It's about being seen, acknowledged. I took a sip of coffee, bitter and hot, and looked out the window. Another year older. Still invisible. Happy birthday to me. It's not like this was the first time. I don't know why I was even surprised. Maybe it's some stubborn little corner of my heart that still hopes people will wake up and remember. But this has been going on for years. I can trace the pattern back like rings in a tree trunk. The year I turned 35, I baked my own cake, lemon with vanilla frosting, because I figured if I didn't, no one would. I was right. I lit my own candle, sat at the kitchen table and told myself, "You're too old to need this anyway." I posted a picture of it to the group chat with a laughing emoji, hoping someone would catch on. They didn't. No one said a word. The next year I didn't bother baking. I bought a cupcake from the grocery store and stuck a toothpick in it. I waited all day. The only person who remembered was my coworker Angela, who brought me a $5 coffee gift card and a hug that nearly made me cry. Meanwhile, in the same group chat, my sister-in-law got an entire countdown week leading up to her birthday. Daily reminders, gift ideas tossed around. Someone even made a Canva graphic with her face on it surrounded by balloons. And the kicker. Last year someone posted, "Happy 3rd birthday to Muffin," with a picture of my niece's Shih Tzu in a pink tutu and a bone-shaped cake. Everyone chimed in. Even I responded with a bone emoji because I didn't want to seem bitter. But inside I was burning. I'm not the type to demand attention. I've never been loud. Never been dramatic. I don't ask for presents or parties or banners. All I've ever wanted really, truly, is a moment. Text. All. Maybe a silly gif or a cupcake from someone who remembered without me having to hint. Instead I get silence. Or worse, empty apologies days later like, "OMG, I totally thought it was next week." Followed by 1,000 exclamation points meant to distract from the fact that they forgot me completely. I started making jokes about it after a while, mostly to protect myself. You know me, I'm low maintenance. I prefer quiet birthdays anyway. Hey, less fuss, more peace. But none of that is true. Not really. I just learned that speaking up only made it more awkward. Made people uncomfortable. They'd either defend themselves or overcompensate for a few days and then go right back to forgetting again. So I stopped saying anything at all. Over time, I've realized I'm the background character in this family. The one who sends the happy birthday texts first. The one who remembers anniversaries. The one who offers to host, to bake, to show up. And I do it all quietly, without asking for much in return. But you know what's funny about being the reliable one? People start to assume you don't need anything. They don't mean to be cruel. They're just used to me being fine. Always fine. The she's got it one. The placeholder. The supportive sister, the helpful aunt. The one who keeps the calendar straight for everyone but herself. And every year, I tell myself I'll stop caring. But every year, that little sting creeps in again, right where it always does. The part of me that still hopes someone will pause, just for a moment and say, "Hey, you matter too." But they never do. The group chat is always buzzing. A relentless stream of inside jokes, half-baked plans, recycled memes, and occasional drama. It's like standing in a crowded room where everyone's talking, but no one's listening, especially not to me. This morning it was chaos as usual. Jason had apparently traded in his old truck for a brand new SUV. He sent pictures from the dealership, posing next to it like he just won a game show. The emojis came flooding in, clapping hands, fire, champagne bottles. My sister replied, "Looking sharp, Jay. Can I get a ride to Target?" Face with tears of joy. Then cousin Brianna dropped her big announcement. "Baby number 2 on the way. Party popper baby." Cue another explosion of messages. Pink and blue hearts, name suggestions. Someone asking if she was hoping for a boy this time. There were 35 new messages in under 10 minutes. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. Typed, "Morning." Hit send. Sat there. One like, from my cousin Thomas. Another from Aunt Marie about 15 minutes later. No replies. Not even a wave or a good morning back. Just 2 hollow taps of digital approval. My heart dropped a little like it always does. I let the message sit for a while, watching the chat scroll right past it, straight into a debate about where the baby shower should be and what cake flavor people preferred. No one acknowledged me. Again. I deleted the message. No one noticed. Not a peep. I put my phone down for a minute, suddenly exhausted. Not just from this moment but from all the ones that came before it. There was a time when I used to be more involved. I sent birthday cards. Actual ones with stamps and handwritten notes. I remembered anniversaries, mailed little care packages during finals week, offered to host when no one else wanted to. I even made a Google Sheet one year to coordinate Christmas gifts so no one got duplicates. People loved me then, but mostly for what I did, not who I was. At some point I stopped organizing things. Stopped trying to earn a seat in the conversation. And you know what happened? Nothing. They didn't ask why I went quiet. No one reached out. They just filled the space with louder voices, bigger personalities, messier drama. I became background noise. When I spoke, it barely registered. Like a commercial break during their regularly scheduled programming. Now I just watch, roll, observe, smile politely at photos of new cars, baby bumps, and brunches I wasn't invited to. I heart the occasional message so they remember I'm around. But they never really see me. Just my name blinking quietly beside the read receipt. By noon the house was too quiet and my thoughts were too loud. I didn't want to sit around refreshing the group chat, hoping someone would remember. I needed to be somewhere, anywhere. That didn't remind me how small I'd become in my own story. So I grabbed my keys and headed to the local cafe down the street. The air was crisp, that kind of mid-autumn chill that makes you zip your jacket a little higher and walk a little faster. I stood in line behind a couple arguing over oat milk and syrup pumps, trying not to let my mood drag me under. When it was finally my turn, the barista smiled at me, bright-eyed, maybe 22 at most, and said, "Hey, happy birthday." And blinked. "What?" I asked, startled. She pointed at the screen. "Oh, your birthday's in your rewards account. Free drink today." I nodded, a little stunned. "Right. I forgot." She grinned. "Well, hope it's a good one." I smiled back, tight-lipped but genuine, in that sad way smiles can sometimes be. Thanks. You're the first person who's said it. She laughed, assuming I was joking. I didn't correct her. I took my coffee and sat by the window. Outside, people strolled past in cozy coats and knit hats, hands full of shopping bags or kids tugging at their sleeves. Inside, a group of friends laughed loudly at the table beside me. I didn't know them, but somehow I felt more seen just sitting in that room than I had in my family chat in years. I took a sip of my drink, then felt my phone buzz in my pocket. A new notification from the family group chat. I sighed, hoping maybe finally they'd realized. But no. They were debating deviled eggs. Apparently Brianna didn't want mayo in them, and Aunt Marie thought that was a crime against tradition. Someone had just sent a poll. Not a single mention of me. Not even a passing, "Isn't it my name? S birthday today?" I stared at the screen, thumb frozen mid-scroll. And then something in me just snapped. Not in an explosive, dramatic way. No yelling. No angry messages. No passive-aggressive emojis or guilt trips. Just a quiet, bone-deep clarity. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. Done making space for people who didn't notice whether I was there or not. Done dimming myself so others could shine brighter. Done giving love that only traveled one direction. I opened the group chat. Hovered over the settings. Leave conversation. Clicked it. There was no warning message. No "are you sure?" Just a quiet flicker, and then it was gone. No goodbye. No explanation. I stared at the screen a moment longer. Blank now, peaceful in a way it hadn't been in years. I looked around the cafe, at strangers sipping lattes and reading novels, and for the first time all day I felt light. It had taken one candle too many, but I finally realized something. Birthdays aren't about who remembers. They're about who makes you feel like you matter. And I was finally ready to go find those people. The first day after I left the group chat, I kept checking my phone out of habit. Like muscle memory. Pin. Roll. Scan for my name. Repeat. But the thread was gone. Clean break. At first I half expected someone to notice. "Oh wait, where'd you go? Or did you leave on purpose?" Something. Anything. But the silence stretched on. One day. Then two. Then a week. And not a single message. Not one text. Not a call. Not even a reaction to the last photo I posted on my story. I didn't feel sad exactly. Just confirmed. They hadn't even noticed I was gone. And for once, I didn't feel guilty about it. I didn't second-guess or backpedal or draft an apology I didn't owe. Just let it be. Instead of waiting for my phone to light up with the usual noise, I did other things. I went for long walks after dinner. Left my phone at home. I pulled out my old journal, the one I hadn't touched in over a year because family obligations always seemed to eat up the time and mental space. I wrote about the weird emptiness of being forgotten. I wrote about the strange freedom of it too. I sat in my favorite coffee shop for hours without pretending to look busy. I watched people. Smiled at strangers. Let my mind wander instead of rushing back to whatever new drama the group chat was chewing on that week. Turns out, when you finally unplug from people who make you feel small, you start to hear yourself again. And I had missed me. I hadn't realized how loud they all were in my head until I silenced them. Their needs. Their celebrations. Their passive-aggressive guilt trips. Their messes they expected me to clean. No. There was space. Space to think. To rest. To breathe. And still, somewhere deep in the quiet, a little voice whispered, "But maybe someone will reach out." I won't lie. There was a flicker of hope each morning when I checked my texts. Just one person. That's all I'd needed. Just one who noticed I was gone and asked why. Not to drag me back in, but to say, "Hey, I saw you leave. Are you okay?" But no one did. And that said everything. It used to hurt. But now it just feels like truth. And truth, no matter how lonely, is still better than pretending. So I kept walking. Kept writing. Kept healing. I didn't disappear. I just stopped showing up where I was never really seen. It was day 4. I just gotten back from the farmer's market with a bundle of sunflowers and a fresh loaf of sourdough. Small things, but they made me feel grounded. I was sipping tea by the window, journal open, a breeze lifting the corners of the page when it happened. A ping. That familiar buzz I used to hear dozens of times a day. I glanced at my phone, expecting a delivery update or maybe a calendar reminder. But no. It was from my sister. The screen read, "OMG, did we miss your birthday? Grimacing face, happy belated. Things have been crazy, lol, loudly crying face, party popper, red heart." I stared at it for a moment. Let the words settle. Not, "I'm sorry I forgot." Not, "I feel awful I didn't say something sooner." Just a casual, chirpy, "Did we miss it?" As if it were a movie they'd meant to see but forgot was in theaters. As if my birthday, my one quiet personal day of the year, was a blip that didn't quite make the cut in the chaos of things being crazy. Seconds later, the replies started trickling in. A gif of a dog wearing a birthday hat. A string of balloon and cake emojis from Aunt Marie. Someone sent an old photo of me at my 30th. Half my face cut off. Throwback. Hope it was a good one. I didn't open the rest. I didn't need to. I already knew the rhythm. They'd all pile on now, like kids pretending they weren't late to class if they walked in together. Not because they remembered. Not because they cared. But because someone reminded them and now they were performing. Performing concern. Performing love. It wasn't sincere. It wasn't personal. No one called. No one asked how I was. No one even got the date right. They didn't forget. Let's be honest. They just didn't care enough to remember on time. I held the phone in my hand for a long minute, watching the screen light up with shallow cheer. And then I did something simple. Closed the app. No passive-aggressive reply. No heart emoji. No thanks anyway. Just a quiet, deliberate closing of a door that should have been shut long ago. The peace returned almost instantly. I looked back out the window, the late afternoon light turning golden. Across the street, a father held his daughter's hand as they walked past, each carrying a scoop of melting ice cream. They looked so present, so connected. And I thought this is what real love looks like. It remembers. Shows up. It doesn't have to be loud or emoji-laden. But it's there. What they sent me. That wasn't love. It was guilt dressed in glitter. And I wasn't interested in collecting that anymore. So I put the phone down. Tore off a piece of warm sourdough. And for the first time in a long time, I ate my birthday slice exactly how I wanted it. In silence. In peace. In truth. The following weekend I baked myself a cake. Nothing fancy. Just a single-layer chocolate one with thick ganache icing and exactly one candle, because one was enough. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just wanted to do something that felt like me. I even used the good plates. The ones I used to save for company that never really noticed them. I texted 2 friends from work, Clara and Naomi. They weren't best friends or lifelong soulmates. Just 2 kind, funny women who always remembered my birthday without Facebook reminders. Clara once left a cupcake on my desk with a sticky note that said, "You're worth sprinkles." Naomi gave me a tiny potted plant and said, "You're hard to kill like this." That's the kind of energy I needed now. They both came over with a bottle of wine and 2 mismatched gift bags. One had a pair of fuzzy socks. The other, a candle that smelled like vanilla and maybe a little redemption. I don't know. I just know I lit it and it felt warm. We laughed. Loud and long. They told bad date stories and office gossip. We danced in my kitchen to a playlist we made on the spot called Songs That Deserve a Champagne Toast. I forgot how good it felt to laugh until I leaned on someone's shoulder just to catch my breath. Clara handed me a card near the end of the night. Nothing extravagant. Just a handwritten note that said, "To the woman who always shows up for others. Here's to showing up for yourself now." I nearly cried right there. Because for the first time in years, my birthday didn't feel like something I had to beg to be noticed. It wasn't an afterthought or an obligation. It was mine, simple, joyful, full of people who saw me. That night, as I rinsed wine glasses in the sink, I realized something that should have hurt, but didn't. I wasn't actually alone on my birthday. I just hadn't been looking in the right places. Family, as it turns out, isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who remember your favorite cake flavor, who show up without being asked, who write cards instead of sending memes. And sometimes the best way to celebrate your life is by finally choosing who gets a seat at the table. This year I lit my own candle, and for the first time the room felt full. It's been a few months now. I still haven't rejoined the family group chat. Never got added back either. Not that I expected to be. Every now and then, a cousin reacts to an old Instagram post or sends a vague, "hope you're well" message. A few weeks ago, one of them DM'd me with, "Hey, why'd you leave the chat?" I stared at the message for a while. Typed 3 different versions of an answer. Deleted them all. Because the truth is, I don't owe anyone an explanation. I'm not angry. Not holding a grudge. I'm just done. Done begging for scraps of attention. Done performing my own invisibility just to keep the peace. Done waiting for people to care about me as much as I cared about them. My life feels quieter now, but in the best way. There's space to breathe. Space for people who actually see me. Sometimes I still wonder if they ever really noticed I was gone. If my name ever came up. If anyone scrolled up far enough to see that tiny line of text. You left the group. Maybe. Maybe not. But here's what I know. Sometimes disappearing is the loudest thing you can do. It's not drama. It's not a tantrum. It's just choosing yourself in a room that forgot you were even there. They forgot me while I was still showing up. Funny how they finally noticed when I left.